Welcome back to the Authors Corner podcast. It has been a minute, you guys, and I have missed you guys. I really missed you guys talking about book publishing, talking about writing, talking about your voice, all of the things, talking about this journey that we are on as Kingdom Scribes, as new writers, as seasoned writers, as poets. I'm thankful that we get to come back together and we get to join in on the conversations. And we're going to have so much to talk about this season. Okay. We're going to have guests that are going to come on. I want to do some more New Voice Books reunions. So I'm going to bring on some of the authors that have been published through New Voice Books so that you can talk to them. I want to educate you. We have a Kingdom Scribe Academy that will be opening tomorrow. Virtual doors will be opening tomorrow, and it has many courses on there, different topics, a mentorship program that you can go through that's self-paced, one-on-one coaching with me. It has all of the things. And so, and ebooks and resources, and then it's going to have so much more as God gives me the tools and resources and the education material that you need. So I'll be adding it to the academy. But I'm just thankful that we are here together again. It has been a long time since we have been able to talk together. And 2025 was 2025. And y'all, 2025 was a blur. I don't know about y'all, but it was a blur. But I got a lot of work done. I got some things that I had to get done. And here we are launching, like I said, the Kingdom Scribe Academy. So tonight, I just want to talk to you. I just want to talk to you because this month I'm going to kick off a theme, discovering your voice as an author. Okay, because I want us to know that our voice is powerful. And that's why I'm wearing the Superman shirt, because I want you to know that you are a Superman when it comes to book publishing. You are a Superman or Superwoman. Let me just do both. Okay. So you are a Superman or Superwoman when it comes to literature, when it comes to publishing your book, when it comes to writing, whether it's a song, whether it's a poem, whether it's a fiction book, whether it's nonfiction, whether it's creating a journal. You are a Superman and Superwoman. You have the superpower because you have the power of God that is leading you and directing you. Yes, if you are new to this podcast, this is God's platform. So we do all things God over here. And so, but hey, if you don't know him, stay, because I want you to get to know him. Okay. But tonight we're going to, like I said, kick off the series of discovering your voice as an author, because you can't write something that you don't know that you have a voice you have anything to say. You have a voice and you need to speak out, and you have to speak out for you through your words. And it may be a written word, but there are going to be some times where you're going to have to do a spoken word as well too. And so I want you to be able to be comfortable, but to come into agreement to know that your voice is powerful. Your message is powerful. Your story needs to be told, and it will change lives. New Voice Books, the Authors Corner podcast, we're about changing the world. Okay. Yes, I said it, and it's big. I'm saying we're going to change the world one book at a time. So today we're going to talk about one of the most foundational parts of writing. It's finding your voice. Whether you're just starting out or you've been writing for years, your voice is what sets you apart. It's how your readers connect with you, and it's the heartbeat of your writing. So you may see me looking down every now and then or looking to the side. It's because I have notes. I came prepared, and I want us to stay on topic. And also I want you to get the meat of everything. And these notes have the meat that you need. Okay. So I want you to go and get your favorite notebook, your favorite pen, your favorite drink and snack. Come on back so you can join me for an amazing conversation as we talk about discovering your voice. All right, so welcome back. So I hope that you got everything that you needed so you can stay engaged. And drop in the comments like where you're from. Where are you tuning in from? And drop in the comments what are you writing about? You don't have to put the whole book description. Just drop in the comments where you're from. Drop in the comments of what you're writing about. I want to know. Let's engage. Let's get to know one another during this season. Okay, I don't want you just to be in the comments in the back. No, let's engage. Let's talk to one another and get to know each other. So let's start with the basics. What do we mean when we say author voice? Okay. So your author voice is a combination of your tone, your style, and your perspective. I want you to write that down. So your author voice is a combination of your tone, your style, and your perspective. Think of it like your fingerprint is unique to you. No one can sound like you. No one can say words the way you say it. No one can I don't want to say be dramatic or dramatized, but no one can kind of give that like you can when you kind of speak about something or you are reading something or you're giving talking about something or whatever you're doing. Nobody can do it like you. It's not just the words you use, but it's the way that you use them. So, for example, some writers have a warm conversational voice, almost like sitting down with a friend for coffee. It is very warm. It is very inviting. You've heard some voices like that. You've heard some people talk like that. And then others may have a more formal teaching tone, and then some use humor in storytelling, while others lead into reflection and wisdom. Everybody has their different style of voice. But the point about it is to come forth with your style. Don't try to mimic somebody else's style. Don't try to be over here trying to do what they're doing. Show up in your author's voice when you're speaking and when you're writing. So here's the key. Your voice isn't something you make up. It's already inside of you. God already put that voice inside of you. You don't have to make it up. You don't have to go and get a speaking coach. You don't have to go and watch all of the YouTube videos on how to speak well or buy a conference ticket or a digital product from a well-known speaker. No, tap into what's inside of you. Tap into the voice that is inside of you. That's who you tap into. Nobody else. And then it's about uncovering it, not copying someone else. So don't copy someone else. Just like I said, don't try to mimic somebody else. You need to do it in your voice, in your style. Nobody else's, yours, okay? Your style. Okay, so next we're going to talk about how personal experiences shapes your writing voice. So now let's talk about how your personal experiences, they're going to guide and direct how you speak, how often you may speak, if you speak at all, how maybe loud and proud you speak, or how low and quiet you speak, maybe how calm you speak. Those experiences do affect your voice. So the truth is, everything you've walked through, the joys, the heartbreaks, the breakthroughs, and even the setbacks, becomes a part of the lens through which you write. Because it's just part of your story. You may have a part of the story that may talk about part of it. But all of those things, the joys, the heartbreaks, the breakthroughs, even your setbacks, are all part of your story. So, for example, an author who's experienced loss may write with a depth of compassion that resonates deeply with readers who are grieving. Who better to write a book and tell a story about grief than the person who's walked through it? Someone who's overcome addiction or hardship may write with a raw honesty that gives hope to someone struggling. Because sometimes you don't need to things to be sugar coated. Sometimes you need to give the detail. Sometimes things need to be said, and it needs to be said how it needs to be said in your book. And that's one thing that I love when it comes to New Voice Books, because I am one that I don't want to drown your voice. I don't want you to sound like me. I don't want you to sound like what the book industry may say you need to sound like, because you're writing your book for someone who's on the other end that's saying, I need a roadmap. I need to know how to walk through this. I need to know how to walk through this grief. I need to know that I don't have to stay addicted to these drugs or addicted to alcohol or whatever the addiction is, that I can come out better on the other side, that this can break with me and not pass down to the next generation. And sometimes you're going to need to say and speak and give detail about some things, and it's going to have to be raw. It's going to have to be honest. It's going to have to be very detail oriented. So that way the person who's reading it can visualize it, can see it. And so you have to allow your voice to speak honestly through your book, through your words, through your story, through your message, through your song, through your poems. And even if you're doing a journal, if you're doing like a thought-provoking journal, you still need to draw that person with what you are wanting them to kind of think about, because you're calling them to sit and write, and then you're giving them something, a question or something to reflect on that you're wanting them to process through their minds. It needs to draw them. So your testimony, your perspective, your background, all of it adds authenticity to your writing voice. And authentic is what readers connect to. So you got to be authentic. You got to be real. You got to be relatable. You can't come out here and being phony and fake. Nobody's going to relate to that. Your book is going to stay on the shelf, in that box, under that bed, in that garage, because people are looking at the book and saying, how can this help me? How can I see myself in your story? How does your voice resonate with me? Because I've heard some people, like, when they'll read a book and they be like, you know what? This sounds just like me. Like, this author sounds just like me. Like, this is something that I would say, or this is something that I would have thought in this type of situation. And when they can relate to you, you draw them in, and they keep your book in their hands. And then now they're telling somebody else, you need to go read this book, who they know it will relate to them. People can spot when you're being real versus when you're trying to imitate someone else. So when you're trying to be somebody else, it's not real. And why would you want to? Why would you want to imitate somebody else? Why would you want to come out here and do all of this work to write this book for it to sound like someone else? For a person to be like, okay, hold on, this sounds a lot like this person. This sounds a lot like that person. Then they're not getting to know you as an author. Because then when you have your book signing, who is showing up? The real version of you, or the version of you that was imitating somebody else? And how fair is that to your reader? Because then who's the author? You know, man, I came here to get to know the author. I came on this Zoom to get to know the author. I came to this conference to get to know the author, but the author's not here because you're showing up as somebody else, which is telling the world my voice doesn't matter. It's not good enough. And I'm going to speak to that person that feels that it's like, my voice doesn't matter. It's not good enough. My story is just all over the place. It's just too much. You know, it's just too much for people to handle. It's enough for people to handle. If you got a story and it's just toxic and dysfunctional and it's just up and down and all around, there's somebody whose life has been up and down and all around, and they need to know that stability is an option, that freedom is an option, that a sound mind is an option, that waking up with peace is an option, that being healed and whole is an option, that there is an other side to what they're going through. So you can't show up as the cheap version of someone else. Because when you imitate somebody, that's what you're doing. You're showing up as the cheap version of somebody else. So why do that? Why do that to yourself? So I don't want you to shy away from your story. Your voice grows stronger when you lean into your lived experiences. You are the expert about your life. You are the expert about that, dealing with domestic violence, surviving a toxic family and parents. Like, you are the expert. You don't have to have a PhD, MD, all of the D's behind your name. You are the expert. You walk through it. And you don't have to tell your story like somebody else tells their story that's similar to yours. No, your story is your story. I've shared before, but I'll share for those that may be new to the podcast. My first book, The Reflection of Me, Finding You and God Through the Pain, this book right behind me. I had to write a book about me surviving domestic violence. Domestic violence has its own month. And so I felt like, what else can I add to the narrative? But I had to tell my story. I had to tell the story of how there are survivors that survive, that we're not out of our minds. We're not walking around here in another place, in another area, using a fake name. We're not silent in the back of the room. We're not insecure. We're not damaged goods, even after coming out of the relationship. But that we can be healed and whole, and that we serve a God, and we have a God, if you don't know him, but there is a God that loves you always. And he will love you through the pain. He will love you through the pain. And so I had to share my story. I also had to share from a point of view to help people that was always just coming down on people that were dealing with domestic violence with the question, why are you staying? You should have left. A lot of people, when they read my book, they were educated because they were like, wow, I didn't realize that was the mindset of a person in that type of situation. Some had to go back and apologize to people that they were hard on, because instead of being there for them, they judged them. And so that was my contribution to the domestic violence narrative. But if I was so worried about domestic violence being this saturated story that my voice didn't matter, then those that needed to read my book would have lost out. I stood as the expert of my story. I allowed that lived experience to let my voice shine through, so that someone can know that, yes, you can come out on the other side of that. No, you don't have to be in that corner, quiet, in the dark. That you can step into the light boldly with a roar that will tear down walls. And I want you to feel that. Remember, we are super men, we are super women with strong, powerful voices. This shirt is our symbol, okay? So go to Walmart, Target, whatever, get you one of these shirts. This is what we're going to do. We're going to get, I got mine on today, but get you one of these shirts. And I want you to look yourself in the mirror and say, I am a superman. I am a superwoman, and my voice matters. It is powerful, and it needs to be heard in this earth so that it can change the world. We are still listening to some powerful voices and authors and writers today that are still changing the narrative in our generation. Why not that be you? Okay? So next I want to talk about exercise to strengthen your unique voice. Now that we've defined voice and how it's shaped, let's get practical, okay? Because I want you to have stuff that you can apply. I don't want to just give you information and you're like, Tiffany, so what we do with this? What you want us to do with this? Let's get practical, okay? So here are a few exercises you can use to strengthen your unique voice as an author. So one, you can do free writing. So set a timer for like 10 or 15 minutes and just write without stopping. Just write. Don't edit. Don't worry about grammar. Just let the words flow. Over time, you'll begin to notice patterns in how you naturally express yourself. So don't try to be the editor-in-chief. Just write. That's why it's called free writing. Just write. Just write. Don't worry about it. Just write. Yes, Mr. and Mrs. Perfect, who has to have the semicolons in the right place and the commas and the periods and all of the things. Just write. You can do it. Just write, okay? Then read it out loud. Take a passage you've written and read it out loud. Does it sound like you? Does it reflect the way you talk to a friend? If it feels forced or unfamiliar, that's a sign to adjust and let your natural rhythm shine through. So don't be like, I can't do it. We're going to do this, okay? We're going to do these exercises because what we're not going to do in 2026 is still be trying to figure out how to use our voice. How to use our voice through our writing. What is our sound? What do I sound like? You're going to know that. And then you're going to just be it and do it. So the next exercise that you need to do is journal your conversations with God. Remember, this is God's platform. New Voice Books in the Author's Corner is God's business and podcast. So we all about God over here. So if you are a faith-based writer, journaling your prayers or reflections is one of the best ways to uncover your authentic voice. Those words, raw and honest, often become the foundation of your author style. Write your conversation down with God. We need to be writing them down anyways because God be talking to us and then we be trying to memorize everything that he said and remember everything that he said and quoting it back and doing all of the things. Write that stuff down. Write it down. Like, just write it down. Just do it. Just write it down. And then you can study authors you admire, but do not copy them. Again, you're not going to imitate somebody else. You're going to show up as who you are. But it is good to do research and kind of look at other people, how they're, how they're using their words, how they're pronouncing words, how they're pronunciating, how they're doing all of the things, maybe how they write, how they flow. Because it can help you to be like, oh, they're just flowing. They're just carefree. And it will help you as well. So notice how they use language, pacing, and tone. Then ask yourself, what feels natural to me? Like, what feels natural? Bring it back to yourself. Instead of duplicating their voice, learn how to sharpen your own. You studying the authors that you admire is just for research. It is not to become. I'm going to say that one more time for the person in the back to the left with the backpack trying to walk out the room. I'm going to say it one more time. Study authors you admire, but do not try to be them. They are a tool. They're a tool. Don't become them. We need to hear from you. Yeah, we need to hear from you, okay? So don't Don't become them. Be you. And then lastly, write like you speak. One of the simplest, most powerful exercises. Imagine you're talking directly to your ideal reader. And that's how I write. So I am a conversational person when I'm writing, because I visualize the person in my head and I'm talking to them. And then not only am I talking to them, when I start going through the stories, then it's like me taking their hand and I'm walking them through different, like, it's like a bunch of big screens, and then we're going from one big screen to the other, and I'm describing to them what's happening in this scene, what's happening in that scene, what's happening in that scene. And then I may turn around and me just have some kind of conversations, because I'm hearing them ask me questions, and then I'm answering those questions for better understanding. And so that's my flow when it comes to writing, and I love it. Because when a lot of people read my book, they be like, oh, I thought it was just like reading, like it was just talking to you. Like we were just having a conversation. And I love it because it draws them in, because we are having a conversation. We are talking. And then there's some things that I'm just telling you of what's going on and kind of giving context on things. But I want us to have a conversation. I like to engage with people, because when we communicate, we understand each other better and we get to know each other better. So write as if they're sitting across the table. This helps strip away pretense and gets you closer to your authentic voice. So let me go back over those exercises I want you to do. So it's 5 of them. Write these down. You're going to free write. So that means you're going to just set a timer for 10 or 15 minutes and you just going to go for it. Don't be trying to put no periods. Don't be trying to put no commas. Don't be trying to put no semicolons. Don't be trying to do none of the things. Just write, raw, write. Then the next thing I want you to do is read out loud what you wrote. And pay attention to your tone, to your pacing, and your flow. And then I want you to journal your conversations with God. Journal your conversations with God. Then I want you to use as a tool and resource for research. Study one of the authors that you admire and read how they flow. Listen to how they talk. But do not become them. You're your own person, okay? And then lastly, write like you speak. Write it out. Have that conversation with someone virtually or mentally in your mind and write it out. And then read it out to yourself to hear, so you can hear how you are writing in conversation with someone, okay? So here's the takeaways, all right? Your author's voice is already inside of you. It's not about trying to sound like someone else. It's about embracing the way God uniquely designed you to communicate. Okay? I want you to remember that your story, your tone, your perspective, it all matters. Your story, your tone, your perspective, it all matters. And when you write from a place of authenticity, readers won't just read your words, they'll feel them. And I had gotten a book review about that. Excuse me. One of the author's sisters, a sister, she had told me, she was like, Tiffany, I read your book and I felt like I was on an emotional roller coaster. It was like 1 minute we was on this high and then we get on this low and then we'll kind of just be coasting and then we'll go, woo, it was just all over the place. She said, but I needed that because it helped me to follow you and understand you more. And she called and she was like, I have so much respect for you, because she said, you are a strong individual. But if I was so kind of pulled back from kind of really telling my story and just putting my heart and mind and my feelings on the table and on the page, she would have never been able to take that ride with me. And not only was she able to take that ride with me, she also was able to look back on her life and be thankful for how her father raised her and put that structure around her, because she felt like he was too strict. She felt like he was, he was just ugh. But she was thankful because there were situations and circumstances in her life that, because of how her father was, she avoided the very thing that I had to walk through. She did. So, we have a new t-shirt line, a Kingdom Scribe t-shirt line that is going to be launching this spring of 2026. So I want you to go ahead and sign up for our email list on our website. So go to mvpublishingco.com. So that way, anything that comes out, like the Kingdom Scribe Academy is virtual doors will be open tomorrow. The spring collection of the Kingdom Scribe t-shirt line is going to be launching. I have new authors that are coming out. Matter of fact, we just finished the publishing a children's book for one of my authors, she was one of my first authors when New Voice Books started. And so she's coming back. So I'll have her on the podcast so we can talk. And so I just want you to stay connected, so go ahead and sign up for the email list, and that way so you can get the newsletter. We also do have a Kingdom Scribe writers community over on Facebook. So head on over there and join the other Kingdom Scribes so we can just talk it up, chat it up, talk about the highs and the lows of getting a book published, because it's a lot. But that we can be in community, because we're not going to do this alone. I keep telling y'all, I've told y'all season after season, we're not going to do this alone, okay? So I want to thank you so much for joining me for this very first episode of Discovering Our Voice series, okay? I hope today gave you clarity and encouragement to lean into who you are as a writer, okay? I don't want you to go through 2026 trying to figure that out. You're going to know, and then you're going to be. So if this episode blessed you, I love for you to share it with a fellow writer, or leave a review. Tell me something in the comments, y'all. Like, let's talk. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss episode 2. Okay, we're going where we'll talk about overcoming writer's block and with faith and discipline. Okay, so that title would be Overcoming Writer's Block with Faith and Discipline. So I don't want you to miss. So go ahead and turn your notifications on, subscribe, share it out with other people, like it and love it in your heart, so that way you will not miss out on this amazing information that's going to be coming from the Author's Corner podcast. So until next time, keep writing, keep shining, and remember, your voice matters. Love you all. Be blessed.